Alright guys, welcome into the stream here. It is Thursday, maybe? I don't know. I think it's Thursday. Yes. Thursday. Right on time for the stream to get started. Gonna be finishing up an event area and then jumping on over to Dauntless, getting that taken care of. And behind me is the Wild Dash. She's lost on her phone right now. Way down the rabbit hole. Those of you watching the stream, if my voice sounds distorted or you can't hear me as good as you could, please let me know. I'm trying a new mic filter. So be keeping an eye out on that. As he said, Darsh chasing wabbits.
No, somebody commented on Danielle's post, like saying some
Kimberly's
shit.
sister.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I think that Danielle's just upset because you could have said that she could find strength in the Lord or whatever without telling her that she's going backwards.
Oh
Because
my
the
god.
comment was like, the post you just made sure is a fucking change from what you said last week after your marriage stuff. And I was like, she was like, you need to find strength in the Lord and hang on. And I was like, bro, you could have told her to do that without telling her she was going backwards. So now she's defending herself really heavily. I even said it really nice with a heart, like trying to let her know that I'm just being nice.
Yeah.
And she's just hardcore defending herself. I'm a grown woman with my own grown kids. I'm nothing but nice to people. And I was like, bro, I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to respond. Like,
As he said, sheesh.
yeah, bro, people, fucking white Christian fucking women on the internet are fucking
Out of hand.
hilarious.
Out of pocket, has he said.
Yeah.
I'm going to the event area, has. I think. There should be a wall around here somewhere. Oh, yeah. There we go. Alright, so last night we did confirm that the wall was, we did confirm that I fucked the wall up in one point. We head that direction. Is my base's portal really the closest portal to this place? That's crazy. I'm not even going the right fucking way, I don't think. I think I'm goddamn lost. Fuck me, it's the opposite side. Guys, it's times like this where an auto clicker comes in handy. We're gonna do 10 milliseconds on the right button. I can just sit back and relax. Let it do it for me. No hands. No hands, chat. No hands. There's a wild fluffy in the Discord now. He is muted. Thank you for the nut button. Oh, that's the middle. Okay. Keep on going.
Is this Minecraft?
Fluffy, I had Discord pulled up. On my big, massive motherfucking. Or I need to land. Chill. Chill. Taking full advantage of the new monitor. Yeah, dude, I got the. So I've got. Well, you've seen now. My secondary monitor is turned vertically, and I've got Discord on the top and the server on the bottom, and then my Surface Pro is powering the stream. And then my main's just my Yeah, portrait mode is the best for Discord, my guy. That's like what Hazzy said. Hazzy said, what did that bitch say? Hazzy said that I'm reading fucking chats from last week, and in some threads I am, for sure. For sure. Alright. Fuck, I went off on a tangent. Oh, here's some more obsidian for you to get, baby.
You are a tangent.
Oh yeah, I'm logging
Yeah.
in.
Those of you watching, I've got a new TikTok put up everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, the gaming Facebook. If you're in my Discord, it's in the Discord. Everywhere you can follow me at, including TikTok, it's there.
I'm at the new lobby that needs done there has, if you get around to swinging this way.
Man, Hazzy will swing whatever way she needs to. We'll let her decide that.
Yeah, and the only way I
He
know
said
how
if you want to
is
swing
from a
this
tree.
way.
The only swinging I know is from a tree.
Well, I'm gonna be quiet. I ain't got
Yeah,
nothing
speaking
nice
of
to say.
Azzy. Yeah, see, I widened it up a little bit, cleaned up some crap. I'm thinking about making down there look kind of like lush cavey, but I haven't decided yet.
You're a fucking lush cave, Fluffy.
Put a bunch of light in here. I can't really tell how effective it is because, you know, night vision. But I put a whole bunch of light in here to try and cut down on the amount of mobs that were spawning down there.
Bro, did her lights get completely reset? Is that why we keep getting notification?
Did they unplug?
Not that I know of. I don't know if you unplugged them or not, though. Maybe she's in there wrestling her fucking tent.
Yeah, this is all stuff from the work I've been doing and all stuff and clear out. And yeah, especially this one. This one's a lot of material that got cleared out. Oh, I brought these because I did that wall there, and if you feel like you wanted to use them to decorate with, I have lots. And any other materials you might feel like you would want or need, by all means, just say the word.
Becca left. She said, nope, I'm out of here.
Becca leaves.
Fuck that. Fuck.
Don't worry, Becca. I don't think there's going to be any more
No, it's
redstone in
her.
here
She's
right
running
now.
around. She's running around.
She's running around.
I don't think you can see the
one
lights
thing
with the
has is
waves
as we
position now.
get built in here, I want to run the track from where it ends right now and kind of bring it in a little bit and run it in and do kind of like what we did on the other side there where we have a nice little lobby area for the track to come into.
Do 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 do. Oh, wow, that's nice. Alright.
He's just cursing up a swear and storm over in the corner there.
What?
Yeah, I don't know where all I hear from here is fuck off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I kind of like this little entryway that two made, even though I may replace the type of wood it's made out of. But the style, the design itself, I like. Especially with these here, it could kind of be like a little pathway through. Kind of like how you did with the slabs here, so when you're riding the minecart, you can come through it.
Fucking rod my minecart, bitch.
Yeah. do what myself or Monkey have done and actually build a minecart. Bless you, Dash.
Fluffy said bless you. Well, you're listening, you'll hear it.
Miss you, Dash. You don't chat no more. Get it, but miss you. Grace misses you too. Has said so.
Andrew.
Heart with a unicorn, that's cute. Is this the section that needs to go away?
Yeah. Almost done. Citizens 500 to 450. This is 452. And it is gone. Pick all this stuff up. Oh, some melons. That's nice. Shit. Shit.
Shit.
Hmm. Like you have to have it in your hand. I think
Well,
that's.
like it's just on you.
No,
Like if you're mining, you're grinding mining. But I
with
guess
it.
with it being in your hand, that would make sense.
It could be in your offhand.
Yeah.
I'll take some. My going.
She might have either need milk or a diaper change.
Hmm.
She loves however you get her ring.
Mm-hmm. Alright, guys, we've got a new makeshift story for tonight while I work on this Minecraft stuff. This one is Making Makeshift Stories by Alan V. Hare, narrated by Mitchell 2. And it is called A Night on the Shore of Salton Beach. Salton Sea. You can support their Patreon.
Is Killer Jews watching the stream tonight?
I don't know. There it is. You can click that link, go to Makeshift Stories website, and support their Patreon if you like what they're doing. Killer Jews is not on. What?
It logged me out and it's still trying to say the password's wrong.
Alright, so we're going to get started with that. I'm going to have Discord and myself muted. And we will catch up and see what you guys think after it is over. It is approximately 21 minutes. So, here we go.
I'll talk to you in 21 minutes.
D, Part 1. Read by Mitchell 2. Opening and closing theme by Matthew Erdman. Somewhere and sometime, the ghosts of the past will create the future. The ghostly trunks of long-dead Joshua trees stood as a testament to the high desert's past, as Nimit cruised by, looking for the spot pinned by the nav app. From a distance, through the bug-splattered wind deflector, the place looked abandoned. But as he got closer, Nimit noticed what looked like a row of chargers where the gas pumps had once stood. Behind them, an old cinder-block building, which decades ago housed a snack bar and 2 service bays, was covered in layers of graffiti accumulated over years of disuse. Nimit pulled the big gold wing electric touring bike onto the old gas station's heat-cracked asphalt and stopped in front of the first charger, then plugged the motorcycle in. He watched the estimated charge time and was relieved to see it was showing 10 minutes. Although the nav app had listed the remote station as a fast charger, many on the route had so far turned out to be little more than a household plug on the side of the road, attached to a power pole. Despite the altitude, it was still 40+ Celsius, and in the still air, it felt like he was standing in an oven. The sun beat down on his black leathers, and now that the bike wasn't pushing through the desert air, there was no wind to cool him. Nimit took his helmet off, wiped sweat and dust from his forehead, then looked around for a shady place to wait. He had just turned 115 the week after Jean had passed away at 95. Jean had been the last of his close friends, and Nimit didn't feel like putting himself out there once again to make new relationships he might outlive. he also didn't look forward to outliving his pension. Recently, the plan had sent him a notice stating that his payments had been based on him checking out somewhere in his 90s. At 115, they were in new territory, whatever that meant, and were in the process of assessing whether they had any future commitment to him. So, with no one to hold him back, he had spent the last of his savings to buy the motorcycle and hit the road with the vague notion of following the coastal mountains all the way to the tip of South America. And once he arrived, well, he'd decide what to do next, if and when he got there. A deep, warm baritone singing an old crooner song from the previous century floated out from the OLED black shadow of the abandoned garage. Nimitz shaded his eyes from the glare and squinted. "Hey, who's there?" he called out, realizing that he was being watched. The singing stopped, and he thought he could see someone move in the shadow of the abandoned garage. "Come on over and get out of that sun while you wait," the voice invited. Nimitz walked cautiously around to the side of the building, stopping to let his eyes adjust, until he could make out a lean-looking man with dark, wavy, slicked-back hair. He was dressed in a suit and tie, with an old-fashioned pipe in one hand, and looked entirely out of place, leaning against the graffiti-covered wall of an abandoned garage on the edge of the Mojave Desert. "I thought no one smoked anymore. Wasn't it outlawed decades ago?" Nimitz said, nodding at the pipe. The man looked at his pipe, then tapped it against the cinder block wall, knocking out the ashes, before putting it away in his suit. "Out here in the desert, beyond the civilized world, does anyone care about something so alien to the natural world as a human law?" he replied, cryptically, then added, "It's gotta be pretty hot standing there in that old-school outfit. Doesn't look like it has AC like the modern ones. It's a lot cooler here in the shade." When Nimitz didn't move, the stranger added, "I don't bite, mister. In fact, most people find me quite charming, even when I'm not singing. Pull up a wall, you've got plenty of time." The man nodded toward the row of charge stations. Nimitz followed his gaze over to the charger his bike was plugged into. The large, red LED had jumped from 10 to 30 minutes. "Damn," he cursed under his breath. "That's just the way it is out here. Power fluctuates on a moment's notice," the strange man explained. "I understand it's something to do with the wind generators and solar panels." The man pointed to the roof of the derelict building where solar panels had been installed. "To get wind generation, you need wind. And with wind, you get dust, which coats the solars so they don't work as well. It's almost as if the desert doesn't want to give away its resources. So, you need to slow down and take it as it comes. Are you a man in a hurry?" Not ready to trust the stranger, Nimitz just shrugged and stood his ground. "It's not like the old days, is it, where you could pump a tank of gas in a minute? And don't you miss the rumble of straight pipes on a big ol' internal combustion engine? Now all you get is that sewing machine whine. You know, I almost didn't hear you pull up. You could have been some weird desert insect." The man began whistling a vaguely familiar tune that Nimitz knew he had heard before, but couldn't quite place. After the first few bars, he stopped and smiled at Nimitz. "Oh, don't be so stubborn. Come on in. The water is great." The man chuckled and patted the wall beside him. Beginning to sweat profusely in the blazing sun, Nimitz stepped hesitantly into the shade and leaned against the wall, allowing the stranger as much space as possible. "Odd place to be hanging out in a suit and tie," Nimitz pointed out. "How'd you get out here anyway? I don't see a car or a bike." "Oh, I'm just waiting." The man started to reply, then seemed to change his mind. But now that you've come, I'll be leaving soon. I'm on my way to a festival. What brings you here?" Nimitz nodded at his charging bike. "I needed to juice up, and this was the only place around." "So, Where are you headed? If you don't mind me asking, the man inquired. Out to the coast, Nimit explained. Then I'm going to follow it all the way down to the tip of South America. That's a long, long way, the man mused, nodding thoughtfully. And the coast. Life is out of control along the coast. It crowds out the past and overpowers everything, obscuring what's underneath. Myself, I prefer the desert. It's more fundamental. Its sparseness has never been welcoming to humanity, which lends it a kind of freedom. Things out here either make it or fail, and the failures don't get overgrown. Instead, their bones remain, like this place, the bones of someone's failed dream. The desert is full of them, so it's hard to avoid the past, which makes it easier to understand the present. On the coast, only the present is visible. The past has been wiped away, so you don't know how things got to be the way they are. It's not a place for reflection. No, if you want to come to terms with the past and present, the desert is where you need to be. I came here to give my respects and sing. That's one of the things I do, I sing. Hey, why don't you head down the interior instead of the coast? Stay in the Mojave for a bit, take in the sights, experience the bones of the past, let them teach you about your present. It's good for one's soul. Oh, I don't have one. I mean a soul, Nimit said flatly, so the coast works just fine for me. Mister, everyone's got a soul. Yours might just need a bit of open space to emerge, and you're not gonna find that on the coast. I don't believe in that alternative spirituality stuff, Nimit dismissed out of hand. Look, I'm 115 and going strong. I might make 150 or more. No one knows, because I'm part of the first generation that went through the genetic life extension treatment, and we're all still alive. I'm here because of science. He thought for a second, then added, and money, of course. I earned a lot of money in the first half of my life, and it took almost all of it to pay for the life extension. That's why I've outlived everyone I've known. And now you're on the road, to travel to its end, the stranger concluded. I get it. I like the symbolism. But once you get there, what next? You should really consider coming down to Desert Bay Beach. It's on what used to be the shore of the Salton Sea. The water is mostly gone. It's been drying up over the decades. The thing is, the sea was never permanent. Like everything, it has a lifespan, which in the desert isn't erased. It only comes into existence when there's enough water, or, as in its most recent form, when civilization tries to alter the natural flow of a river. Then it simply dries up. The sea has done that over and over. The pattern is just too long for us to comprehend. Currently, it's the bones of a failed lake, surrounded by the remains of the dreams of those who misunderstood its true nature and tried to exploit it. There's only sand at Desert Bay Beach now, and ghosts. Although, I know you don't believe in that kind of thing. I've got a lot of old friends who are heading down there to an arts festival. In some circles, the festival is quite popular. Who knows? Maybe you'll meet someone you once knew. Nimit shook his head. I doubt that. They're all dead. Then he looked at the man quizzically. You meant to say, people I know, right? The stranger smiled knowingly, but said nothing. I'm sure it's going to be awesome, but I'm headed for the coast, then south. A series of beeps suddenly indicated the bike was fully charged. It's been interesting talking to you, I didn't catch your name, Nimit said, pushing off from the wall. Harry. Just call me Harry. If you change your mind, I guarantee you won't regret going. I'll be singing some crowd favorites. There'll be a lot to experience. Nimit nodded. I'm sure you would be great to hear, but I really need to get going so I can make the coast before dark. Can I drop you somewhere? Thanks, but no, Harry said, pulling his pipe out of his jacket. I want to stay here a bit longer. It's one of those few places with one foot in the past. He patted the wall of the derelict garage and the other in the present. He nodded at the row of chargers. That makes it a good place to reflect before you move further into the desert. Wouldn't you agree? I guess, Nimitz shrugged and started back to his motorcycle. Hope to see you at Desert Bay Beach. The man gave Nimitz a casual salute, then started humming a tune in his warm, oddly familiar crooner voice. Nimitz checked his mirror as he pulled back out onto the highway, but he couldn't see the man anymore. It had been a thoroughly weird encounter. Harry seemed even more out of place in the desert than him. Nimitz hoped the guy would be okay. However, he rationalized that Harry, if that even was his name, got there on his own, so he must have a way to leave. There was something familiar about the man, which was just out of reach at the edge of his memory. The other problem with longevity, Nimitz reflected, was that memories slowly fade away, especially old unused ones, until all that is left is the sense they once existed. Maybe an hour later, just outside of a town in the middle of the Mojave, the wind had suddenly picked up, blowing dust across the road. Unable to see more than 100 meters, Nimitz slowed the big motorcycle to check his route on the nav app in the corner of the heads-up display on his helmet's visor. It was telling him to take the next exit. He could just make out the turn ahead, but the signs were obscured by the blowing dust. He eased the motorcycle onto the off-ramp, then onto the smaller road which the app had chosen as the best route. Nimitz checked the map again to make sure he was headed in the right direction, then sped up just enough so he didn't outrun his limited visibility. After what might have been only 30 minutes, Nimitz finally emerged from the dull, indistinct void of the sandstorm onto a long stretch of weathered asphalt, warped by years of summer heat. There was an empty lake bed on one side of the road and railway tracks on the other. And behind them, in the distance, the peaks of barren mountains told Nimitz he was in a desert valley. Its floor was extremely flat, cut through at random intervals by dried-up runoff channels, which snaked down to a former shoreline. Now partially filled with desert scrub, it was obvious no water had flowed through them in recent times. Nimitz motored past the skeleton of a mobile home park, laid out in a grid on the lake side of the road. A few units still looked occupied and stood out like aluminum and plastic oases among the rusted remains of trailers and cars. Just after the park, he spotted a sign stating he was on his way to Desert Bay Beach. He pulled off the road, ripped his helmet off, and brushed the dust from his visor, then looked around. He was alone on the road. Suspicious of his bike's nav app, he pulled out a handheld and waited for it to figure out where it was. The map bounced around until it settled down, placing a blue arrow midway down the Coachella Valley, south of Palm Springs, on the east side of the Salton Sea. The map showed both the original outline of the lake and its current size, which, as far as Nimitz could make out, was just a series of mudflats. The handheld estimated he was 10 minutes away from Desert Bay Beach and 60 minutes from Palm Springs. The sun, low in the west, was beginning to slide behind the mountain peaks. He checked the time. He had stopped to charge the bike around 1. Where had 6 hours gone? He was sure he hadn't driven that long in the storm. Nimitz's first instinct was to turn around and head to LA, which was only an hour from Palm Springs. However, when he got the bike pointed in the right direction, something made him stop. He had to admit, his conversation with the mysterious Harry was still rolling around in his mind, unsettling him. He had questions about the man and why Harry happened to be at that particular charge station. Somehow, it didn't feel like a chance meeting, and he sensed Harry was already at Desert Bay Beach, waiting for him. He was almost at the old resort. He could afford another day, some part of his mind began to insist. After all, he didn't have a timetable, and there was nothing really waiting for him in Patagonia, other than the end of his journey. So, Nimit turned the big bike around and headed off into the growing dusk to get some answers. End of part 1. Makeshift Stories is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. To get other great APN podcasts, head over to albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you'll find Kyle and Dave versus the Machine. To prevent the apocalypse, Kyle Marshall and Dave Yoon watch films ordered up by a sentient machine. This episode of Makeshift Stories is brought to you by the Edmonton Community Foundation. The Edmonton Community Foundation acts as a bridge between donors and charities to create a strong, vibrant community for generations to come. The foundation helps the people of Edmonton and the area by encouraging philanthropy and funding charitable activities. Through contributions from donors, the foundation assembles and administers permanent pools of capital so the returns can be perpetually reinvested in our community. You can start an endowment fund yourself or with a group, and once it reaches $10,000, it can start distributing funds. The Edmonton Community Foundation, in partnership with Edmonton Social Planning Council, publishes Vital Signs, an annual checkup conducted to measure how the community is doing. The 2022 report focused on systemic racism in Edmonton. You can learn more about the Edmonton Community Foundation at ecfoundation.org. This episode of Makeshift Stories is also brought to you by TELUS Story Hive. Calling all new and emerging content creators in BC and Alberta. In case you haven't heard of Story Hive, they've been supporting storytellers in Western Canada since 2013. This year, they're celebrating their 10th anniversary with their biggest edition yet. The Story Hive Anniversary Documentary Edition is funding 80 short documentaries on any local story you are passionate about. You could get $20,000 in production funding, training, and mentorship, and distribution on TELUS Optic TV and Stream Plus. If you live in BC or Alberta and you have an idea for a short documentary, now is the time to send in your application by February 28th at storyhive.com/apply. Your story, your narrative. Makeshift Stories is released around the beginning and middle of the month. This month's story was written by Alan B. Hare and read by Mitchell II. Opening and closing themes were composed and recorded by Matthew Erdman. Audio production and editing by Makeshift Studios. If you'd like to connect with us, please send an email to makeshiftstories@gmail.com or visit our website at makeshiftstories.com. Links to both are in the show notes. You can help us out by getting your friends to subscribe or follow wherever they listen to audio. Makeshift Stories is released under a Creative Commons non-commercial attribution no derivative license, which means you are free to share our stories. Just remember to credit us and don't alter anything.
One continued. So, like any living thing, they'll wander.
Alright, guys, so what did everybody think about the newest podcast? Those of you that watched it in stream, listened along.
I don't know. What did I miss? I just got here a few minutes ago.
Podcast I was playing.
Yeah, he was playing another one of the stories that 2 does as a side hustle. The live podcasting stuff.
Apparently, he's been with them for a decade.
I was gonna say several years now for sure. Yeah.
10 years is what he told me. Oh, speaking of something too clever, I gotta hydrate. Here's your hydration.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the off feeling like he's been avoiding me because I haven't heard from him since he missed Tracy's birthday. So I don't know what's happening there, if he's even okay, or if anything's been going on. I've heard rumors from other people in our friend circle, but I take them for what they are, rumors.
Yeah.
Until I hear it from the mouth of a 2, it's all speculation.
Maybe you should try reaching out.
What'd you say?
I said maybe he should try reaching out. Is he talking about T right here on the stream? Maybe he should try reaching out instead of talking to him when you're literally playing this shit on there.
Were you what?
Or we may move on.
Teleport to me. Bro.
Wrong chat.
Exactly, wrong chat. I pulled the Allen.
Yeah, she pulled a me this time. It's right there where that pillar is. Once you load. You're facing it.
Oh, see, that actually looks nicer than the clear glass.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking to Hazzy.
Working with Hazzy, yeah.
That's right. Like, Fluffy, where the fuck do you see clear glass at?
Nowhere now. Ooh, wow, it's already oxidized. Maz must have already had that in stock. Nice. See, that's something I should do is take a bunch of the copper and just kind of pre-oxidize it and wax it up. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell. Did you by chance bring down a crafting table, Has?
I've got one in my bar.
Perfect. Because I need to make some buttons. There, down elevator is a down elevator again. Oh, and there's the DC, so that was just like perfect timing. Just